here we are back at part 3 of book 12. We're at the top of page 932. So, we had Circe giving that big old warning to Odysseus, hey, would you stop fighting? Would you just accept help from the gods? Which Odysseus is so not willing to do. So, again, at the top of 932, she continues talking. That nightmare cannot die, being eternal evil itself, horror and pain and chaos. There is no fighting her. No power can fight her. All that avails is flight. Lose headway there along that rock face while you break out arms, and she'll swoop over you, I fear, once more, taking one man again for every gullet. No, put all your backs into it. Row on, invoke blind force that bore the scourge of men to keep her from a second strike against you. Then you will coast Thrinacia, the island where Helios's cattle graze, fine herds and flocks of goodly sheep. The herds and flocks are 7 with 50 beasts in each. No lambs are dropped or calves, and these fat cattle never die. Immortal, too, their cowherds are, their shepherds, Phaetusa and Lampatia, sweetly braided nymphs that divine Nera bore to the overlord of high noon, Helios. These nymphs, their gentle mother bred and placed upon Thrinacia, the distant land in care of flocks and cattle for their father. Now give those kine a wide berth. Keep your thoughts intent upon your course for home, and hard seafaring brings you all to Ithaca. But if you raid the beeves, I see destruction for ship and crew. Rough years then lie between you and your homecoming, alone and old, the one survivor, all companions lost. Now she just laid out for him, dude, if you decide to ignore what I'm saying and do what you always do, which is fight, you're going to be in trouble. Because you're going to try and go by Scylla. You want to go far away from her, far along the edge. You do that, boy, you're going to go into Charybdis and you will most certainly die. Okay? There's 100% chance of death if you go to Charybdis. If you go to the left and you go closer to Scylla, remember, Scylla is our 6-headed monster with 6 gullets, 6 throats, 6 stomachs, all that good jazz. You know what? You're going to lose 6 men, and if you stop to break out arms, you're stopping and you're getting your spears, you're getting your bows and arrows, whatever you've got. Well, you do that, and all of a sudden, instead of only losing 6 men and trying to go by on a racing stroke, if you break out arms, people are not at the rowlocks anymore. They're not rowing. Then all of a sudden, now you've lost 12. Now you go into a panic. Oh my God, now you're up to 18. Now you're so in trouble. She's trying to give him the best advice possible, and he struggles with that. Odysseus just does not like to listen to anybody else. So that's the best suggestion she has for him, is to definitely go close to Scylla, even though you're going to die. But she also told him, hey, if you make it through there, you go by this island, Thrinacia, and that's where Lord Helios is. Now, we've heard his name once before, and I don't know if you guys remember this because it's been a couple of days. Lord Helios was talked to us about in the beginning of book 1. If we go all the way back, so I'm going to go back for a moment. You guys don't have to do this. I'll do this. So she just told us on page 932 that, hey, you're going to go by this island. It's going to have some incredible animals that you will want to slaughter. Don't do it. I know you're going to be hungry. I know you want to feed your men. You want to celebrate that you just made it through all this, but stay away. Okay? Lord Helios, he can ask for some special help if you do something stupid, like come and slaughter his animals. In fact, I would charge that Pretty sure that happens because Odysseus doesn't like to learn. If I go back to page 895, on page 895, he had said he saw the townlands and learned the minds of many distant men. That would be like the Cyclops. He has gone on, he met Polyphemus. He learned how to work through that whole thing. Now he's at Circe's. He's been to the underworld. So he's seen lots of things. And it had said, let's see, not by will nor valor could he save them, for their own recklessness destroyed them all. Children and fools they killed and feasted on the cattle of Lord Helios the sun. Okay, so they did that. We already know that they don't listen. We already know that they're probably going to survive this. How many? That's questionable. At the bottom of 932, in the section you can't read so well, it says, at dawn, Odysseus and his men continue their journey. Odysseus decides to tell the men only of Circe's warnings about the sirens whom they will encounter. He is fairly sure that they can survive this peril if he keeps their spirits up. And suddenly the winds stop. Now, I want you to ask yourself, do you suppose that this would be a smart thing? You're going to have to kind of play this by ear here. Well, no pun intended. You're going to have to figure out, do you think he played this well? Was Odysseus being really smart by not telling his men about everything, but he did tell them about the sirens? Hey, if you guys allow me to put this wax in your ear, you guys will make sure that we survive. Let's see if that's a smart thing. The crew were on their feet briskly to furl the sail and stow it in. Then, each in place, they poised the smooth oar blades and sent the white foam scudding by. I carved a massive cake of beeswax into bits and rolled them in my hands until they softened. No long task, for a burning heat came down from Helios, Lord of high noon. Going forward, I carried the wax along the line and laid it thick on their ears. They tied me up then, plumb amidships, back to the mast, lashed to the mast, and took themselves again to rowing. Soon as we came smartly within hailing distance, the two sirens, noting our fast ship, off their point, made ready, and they sang. The lovely voices in ardor appealing over the water made me crave to listen, and I tried to say, "Untie me!" to the crew, jerking my brows, but they bent steady to the oars. Then Perimedes got to his feet, he and Eurylochus. He is a man we've seen before, so we've got to pay attention to him. And they passed more line about to hold me still. So all rowed on until the sirens dropped onto the sea rim and their singing dwindled away. My faithful company rested on their oars now, peeling off the wax that I had laid thick on their ears, and then set me free. So if I stop there, again, this is at line 134. Was it a smart thing to tell his men, hey, let me put the wax in your ears because we're going to have these sirens. They could lure us to certain death? Well, I would hope your answer is yes. So your smart and stupid charts, you guys should have those out. And you guys should be writing right on here. Dude, this was super smart for Odysseus to tell his men about the sirens. If you really stop and think about it, the name of the sirens, it's kind of something that we're already familiar with, isn't it? Sirens. We think of sirens with, hopefully you could go and get to the point where I want you to get, which is an ambulance. If I have an ambulance, why would I call an ambulance? Well, probably because somebody is hurt really badly and needs some really serious help. If I hear a siren, usually that ends up being something quite bad. And if I take a look at this piece that we've just read, oh yeah, the sirens, they're quite bad because they lure you to 1,000% certain death if you actually go up. Now, Perimedes and Eurylochus, Those were two of Odysseus's trusted men, and they made sure Odysseus got to do what he wanted to do, which was listen, because he's so curious. But he didn't put anybody in jeopardy because they completely ignored whatever he was saying because they couldn't hear and just kept wrapping that rope around him to keep him on that ship so he couldn't steer them one way or the other. So all of this has been quite smart. So let's see what happens next. At 1:35, the pickup to that. But scarcely had that island faded in blue air than I saw smoke and white water with sound of waves and tumult, a sound the men heard, and it terrified them. I want you to consider, my God, if you're hearing so much splashing, so much action in the water, what causes that when you're out in an ocean, out in a sea? Anybody? You have to be close to some land, or you have to be close to some rocks. You have to be near something that is dangerous for a ship, okay? Especially because they are terrified, okay? Consider what it could be. Oars flew from their hands. The blades went knocking wild alongside till the ship lost way, with no oar blades to drive her through the water. Can Odysseus afford, if there is something happening, like, geez, have we gone to, nope, we haven't gone to her yet. It seems to me, yeah, we've got to go by Scylla. And so we're getting close. And remember, that first option was, hey, we're going to go near this section that's got all these jutting rocks that can gore the sides of your ships. Can you afford to have your men panic at this point? Absolutely not. You cannot if you're Odysseus. So Odysseus has to be a smart leader, because you have two options as this leader, at least what I'm thinking, and maybe it could be another option. But I think, okay, you could encourage men, or you can really yell at them, okay? If I am encouraging, we're going to pull together, we're going to do this, don't doubt, we're going to do this. That's a great way to lead. Sometimes you can't lead that way. Sometimes you just have to, in battle, sometimes, and they're basically in a battle, sometimes you just have to yell at your men to get them to do what you want. And Odysseus, dude, he cannot afford these men to not steer the ship, so to speak, because then they could hit all these jutting rocks. The ship would go down. So at 1:41, well, I walked up and down from bow to stern, trying to put heart into them, standing over every oarsman, saying gently, friends, have we never been in danger before this? More fearsome is it now than when the Cyclops penned us in his cave? What power he had! Did I not keep my nerve and use my wits to find a way out for us? Now I say, by hook or crook, this peril too shall be something that we remember. Heads up, lads! We must obey the orders as I give them. Get the oar shafts in your hands and lay back hard on your benches. Hit these breaking seas. Zeus, help us pull away before we founder. You at the tiller, listen and take in all that I say. The rudders are your duty. Keep her out of the combers and the smoke. Steer for that headland. Watch the drift, or we fetch up in the smother and you drown us. So, hey, he does a little bit of both. I mean, he's definitely doing the encouraging, which they need to hear. And he told them to lay hard on their benches. That doesn't mean go lay flat. That means get back there and you're rowing. And when you row, you're rowing forward. And so if I'm going to lean back, I'm going to get all that power, all that momentum going. And then he also does a little bit of yelling. Not horrific, mean yelling, but he's still got to do that. But I do find it kind of interesting that he has to remind his men that, hey, do you remember all these other times? All these other times that we faced other creatures, like We faced Polyphemus, the Cyclops. Hey, I took you to Circe and I didn't let my men stay pigs. He can't let them forget that because he's an awesome, fearless leader. I suppose that's a good thing because they're like kind of panicking right now. Okay, so we're ready for the top of 936. That was all. And it brought them round to action. But as I sent them on towards Scylla, I told them nothing as they could do nothing. Now you guys have to decide if that's a smart or a stupid thing. Should he have forewarned his men that here's going to be a six-headed beast that's going to come and, like, take 6 of you. What are your chances? Hey, who's going to survive? What could happen if he would have told them about Scylla? Consider that. Somebody please tell me what could happen. Well, to me, if somebody was going to tell me that, hey, there's a group of 30 of you and every time her heads come down, 6 of you guys are going to leave, I'm thinking, wow, my chances are not very good here. If I were one of Odysseus's best fighters, I might want to fight. And if I want to fight, that means we pause. I don't know. So do you suppose this is a smart or a stupid thing? If you don't know now, you must know shortly. They would have dropped their oars again in panic, to roll for cover under the decking. Oh, that's what he thinks. Circe's bidding against arms, or weapons, had slipped my mind, so I tied on my cuirass and took up 2 heavy spears and then made my way along to the foredeck, thinking to see her first from there. The monster of the gray rock, harboring torment for my friends, I strained my eyes upon that cliffside veiled in cloud, but nowhere could I catch sight of her. And all this time, in travail, sobbing, gaining on the current, we rowed into the strait. Scylla to the port. So Scylla's on the left, 6-headed beast is over here. And on our starboard, on the right, is that being Charybdis, that maelstrom, that, think of it like that tornado in the water that's sucking the water down. A dire gorge of the salt sea tide. By heaven, when she vomited all the sea like a cauldron, seething over intense fire when the mixture suddenly heaves and rises. The shot spume soared to the landside heights and fell like rain, but when she swallowed the sea water down, we saw the funnel of the maelstrom, heard the rock bellowing all around, and dark sand raged on the bottom far below. My men all blanched against the gloom. Our eyes were fixed upon that yawning mouth in fear of being devoured. Then Scylla made her strike, whisking 6 of my best men from the ship. I happened to glance aft at ship and oarsmen and caught sight of their arms and legs dangling high overhead. Voices came down to me in anguish, calling my name for the last time. Imagine what that would be like. Boom! Head comes down. But I got guys' legs hanging out. Oh my God! And you can hear them, Odysseus, save me! Can you imagine? Can you imagine the fear that would take hold of you? Downright fear. I would think that could paralyze a person. Certainly some of those men will just automatically want to fight. But you have to remember, was that a smart thing to do? Was Odysseus smart in not telling his men? Yes, he just lost 6 men, but so far it's only 6. If he would have told them from the very beginning, could they have potentially screwed up and stayed there a little longer? I mean, they haven't even left yet, but it's a little dangerous right here. Now remember, the last time we had this happen, this is where Homer gives us an example that we want to make sure that we can really visualize what's happening. So if you guys could not visualize what happened between lines 188 and 192, Homer gives you another example. A man surf casting on a point of rock for bass or mackerel whipping his long rod to drop the sinker and the bait far out, will hook a fish and rip it from the surface to dangle, wriggling through the air. So these were borne aloft in spasms toward the cliff. So, can you imagine? Scylla is just like when you whip that line, that fishing line, out of that water, and that fish is trying hard to get out. That's exactly what it would have been like with those men. She ate them as they shrieked there in her den in the dire grapple, reaching still for me, and deathly pity ran me through at that sight. Far the worst I ever suffered questing the passes of the strange sea. We rowed on. The rocks were now behind, Charybdis too, and Scylla dropped astern. So how many men did Odysseus just lose here? Well, hopefully you said 6. That's our magic number. Is that horrific? Well, losing anybody is bad, but the fact that he only lost 6 is kind of good. Except, let's see what happens next. And this is, again, the section you guys can't read so well. Odysseus tries to persuade his men to bypass Thrinacia, the island of the sun god Helios, but they insist on landing. They're starving here. Driven by hunger, they ignore Odysseus' warning not to feast on Helios' cattle. This disobedience angers the sun god, who threatens to stop shining if payment is not made for the loss of his cattle. To appease Helios, Zeus sends down a thunderbolt to sink Odysseus' ship. Odysseus alone survives. He eventually drifts to Ogygia, the home of Calypso, who keeps him on her island for 7 years. With this episode, Odysseus ends the telling of his tale to King Alcinous. So, from the beginning of Book 9 to the end of Book 12, this whole thing has been a massive flashback. Okay? Odysseus just told us, he told us in the beginning of Book 1 that, dude, I never make it back with all my men. But here's my story. And so we've heard the story of how he lost all of his men. Again, keeping in mind that we didn't read books 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We didn't read 11. And here we are at 12 already. So there are a lot more things that happen. But the thing you want to remember is you have to take a moment. You have to. I have written nothing down. If you guys are doing this on your summary sheets, you're going to be in trouble because you guys are not, absolutely not, going to remember what's going on in all of these. What I would suggest that you guys do is to take a couple of minutes and look back through these pages and pick up a few things. Did you write anything down about the sirens? Did you write anything down about, hey, you had 2 options with your ship? Did you write anything down that he survived going to Tiresias in the land of the underworld? Did you write anything down about if he was smart or stupid by not telling his men about Scylla? Did you remember to write down Scylla and Charybdis? I probably just said that twice now, but it's extremely important that you guys write this stuff down. Again, you're not going to remember this by the time we get to the end of this, okay? Because he has been on a grand adventure, okay? So take a couple minutes with somebody. It should be, why don't you guys take a look for your partner that you guys did To Kill a Mockingbird with. You guys are sitting right next to them. Talk to them and make sure, what have you guys written down? If you guys haven't been writing stuff down, again, you're going to be in some hot water here shortly. So take a couple minutes to do that, and you guys should have a worksheet that goes with this selection. And again, we'll figure out how we're going to get that done. If it's going to be open online today or whatever, I will have some type of a message for your substitute. So we'll get that figured out. So get your assignments done, people.